politico-legal conspiracy, one that sought to link Sanatan Dharma with terrorism viewers, Hinduism with terrorism viewers, saffron with terrorism viewers, with the exoneration of Sadhvi Pragya Lieutenant Colonel Purohit, who is now a brigadier in the army, and 5 others in the Malegaon blast case. The myth of Hindu terror lies dead and buried. Special Judge A.K. Lahoti of the NIA court couldn't have been clearer. The judge observed that, quote, upon comprehensive evaluation, the prosecution has failed to bring any cogent evidence and the evidence is riddled with inconsistencies, unquote, viewers. Why? Because this is crucial. The judge observed, quote, conviction cannot be based on moral grounds, unquote. In short, a political idea cannot substitute for legal proof. This is what the judge, viewers, has noted in his judgment and pronounced in court. This brings us back to the early 2000s when the Congress-led UPA government coined the term saffron terror. Sadhvi Pragya and Colonel Purohit were arrested in connection with the 2006 Malegaon blast, which occurred outside a Muslim place of worship in a small Maharashtrian town. Viewers, investigators linked the accused to a Hindu organization, likening it grotesquely to a, quote, Hindu Lashkar-e-Toiba, unquote. Don't forget that. But this narrative was never about justice, viewers. It was about creating a false equivalence to paint Hindu activists and soldiers as extremists, to placate a political vote bank, and no points for guessing which vote bank, viewers. The project failed. It failed because its foundations, viewers, were flawed. As Justice Lahoti reaffirmed, moral outrage cannot replace hard evidence. And viewers, there was very little hard evidence. There was no evidence that bomb was planted on the bike that was used. There was no proof that Sadhvi Pragya owned this bike that was used in the blast. No proof that RDX was stored in Lieutenant Colonel Purohit's home. The proof presented has been compromised. It's unreliable. This is all the court, viewers, ruling in its judgment. Maharashtra ATS, the court says, fabricated evidence in this case. Can you believe it, viewers? Fabricated evidence. For whom? Viewers, for whom did they fabricate evidence? Sanction orders under the UAPA Act were flawed. So even when the NIA went in, viewers, and that was under the Modi government, even that sanction order was flawed. And no proof, the court says, that accused committed terror activities. There was no proof even of conspiracy to establish a Hindu Rashtra. So what was this about, viewers? And yet, viewers, despite all of this, the cost of this political theatre was immense. Reputations were destroyed. The man, viewers, in the middle of your screens, that gentleman, viewers, has suffered 17 long years. His entire decorated career in the army has been completely tarnished, bedeviled by insinuations that were fabricated, the court says. His life was derailed. And the only person, viewers, and I can tell you this because we have covered this case unrelentingly. Viewers, the only person standing in his corner was his wife. The system completely deserted him. Completely, viewers. Only a few, like Uma Bharti and others, viewers, who were part of what is the Hindu nationalist cause, has stood up consistently for Lieutenant Colonel Purohit, who today, of course, is a brigadier. He's joined back the army, and he, gentlemanly as he is, bears no rancor. Today, viewers, he came out and he said that I bear no rancor and I'm grateful to the army. Viewers, let me tell you, it is our duty as Indians to speak up for Lieutenant Colonel Purohit. We can't give him back his life, those years spent rotting in jail, clearing his name. Do you know what he was doing, viewers? He had been tasked to infiltrate all sorts of organizations, to anticipate terror attacks. And he was doing his job agnostically. He didn't let his allegiance, his religion get in the way. He'd infiltrated. And they used that against him, viewers. His national service, they used it against him. Viewers, this was a callous attempt at painting the army just to prove a point. To suck up, viewers, to a vote bank. They were ready to paint the army in the brush of communal colors. An army, viewers, that is known for its secularism and its professionalism. It's professionally secular, viewers. Lives were derailed. Sadhvi Pragya was tortured, viewers. Third-degree torture. She couldn't walk. She was lifted in a stretcher when she came out of jail. 1/4 her weight, viewers. She was almost skeletal. She still can't walk, viewers. Institutions undermined. Most crucially, as I told you, the army. And I'm coming back to this point because it needs to be reiterated. Can you believe it, viewers? A particular dispensation that today claims that it stands in the army's corner, that it fights for the army, had no problems, viewers, throwing it under the bus. That same army that is celebrated for its secular and apolitical professionalism, viewers. And that's why today, viewers, Sadhvi Pragya came out and said, I have been saying this from the very beginning, that those who are called for investigation, there should be a basis behind that. I was called by them for investigation, was arrested and tortured. This ruined my whole life. They defamed Bhagwa. Even today, viewers, she's not so much talking about herself, she's more concerned about the faith. And Lieutenant Colonel Purohit, he came out and said, I'm extremely grateful to the country and those who stood by us. I'm grateful to the judiciary for understanding the case and delivering justice to all of us. Let me tell you, viewers, he's being very charitable because the entire Lutyens ecosystem deserted him. Media houses deserted him, viewers. His wife, his family, his children. And I can tell you this from personal information. His children were treated as pariahs. Stigmatized the entire family, viewers. There must be compensation, and it cannot be money. It has to be, viewers, and this is where I want to ask the center, the BJP, at the center, viewers, if it's going to institute an inquiry to find out who did this, not just to this one person, but the institution that he represents. During the fight, the armed forces, Colonel Purohit said, stood by me. I have no words to express my gratitude to all of them, viewers, unquote. Listen in.
I am extremely grateful to the country and all those who stood by me and by us. I am grateful to the judiciary for understanding the case and delivering justice to all of us. The armed forces, my army, the way they stood by me, I have no words to express my gratitude towards all of them.
The BJP is demanding an apology from the Congress for linking Sanatan to terror, viewers. Listen into this.
आज एक बहुत ही ऐतिहासिक दिन है. हिंदू आतंकवाद को देश के ऊपर जबरन थोपने का जो कांग्रेस पार्टी का षड्यंत्र था, वो आज धराशायी हो गया. किसी भी एक्यूज के खिलाफ कोई पर्याप्त सबूत नहीं है और प्रोसिक्यूशन अपना केस प्रूव नहीं कर सके.
Viewers, the Congress has an answer to give to the Hindu community, and I'm going to run you through some of these hard facts, viewers, and they cannot be omitted or overlooked. This is when the Congress went out of its way to come up with this conflation, saffron terror. Why did it come up with saffron terror, viewers? Have you ever asked yourself? It was because, viewers, it wanted to draw a false equivalence, to rationalize Islamist terror. Can you believe it, viewers? Islamist terror that has bled India for 75 years. The only way the Congress party thought it could rationalize it so that its vote bank doesn't feel uncomfortable is by equating it. And viewers, if you think this was in isolation, think again. Because in Sharm el-Sheikh, viewers, the Congress, in fact, equated Pakistan with India as a co-victim of terror. This is what it was doing. P. Chidambaram came out and said, viewers, there is no let-up in the attempts to radicalize young men and women. There is the recently uncovered phenomenon of saffron terrorism that has been implicated in many bomb blasts. Have you ever heard them talk about green terrorism, viewers? No, then terror has no religion. Digvijay Singh, RSS and other saffron groups are involved in terror cases. People call me mad, but my allegations have been proven after investigation. Even martyred Hemant Karkare substantiated this, and this, viewers, is from the party that came up with the word or phrase 2611, RSS ki shajish. They would have painted that also as saffron terror had we not been able to catch, viewers, Ajmal Amir Kasab alive. Sushil Kumar Shinde, ex-Home Minister, and one-time Chief Minister of Maharashtra, came out and says reports have come during investigation that BJP and RSS conduct terror camps. Bombs were planted in Samjhauta Express, Mecca Masjid, and a blast was carried out in Malegaon. This is saffron terrorism. This is Hindu terrorism. He even used that word, viewers. What a certain ecosystem in India forgets is that the universalism that is at the heart of Sanatan Dharma ensures that it remains an eternal, pluralistic, philosophical construct that cannot be boxed into an ism. And therefore, the followers of Sanatan Dharma's view on life cannot contemplate the world in an us versus them framework, viewers. When there is no concept of the other, there cannot be another to militate against, to convert, or to simply eliminate. There isn't any Hindu equivalent of a jihadi or a crusader. And there simply can't be. Even the demolition of the Babri Masjid on the back of an arguably Hindu nationalist movement to reclaim the most sacred symbols of Hindu civilization triggered a backlash from whom? From within the Hindu community. Hindus spoke up against it. And what did that lead to, viewers? Hindu nationalists vowing that they will take the constitutional path and never resort to extra constitutionalism. That is the power, viewers, of Sanatan Dharma. The only unanswered question is, will the masterminds of this slanderous scheme to link Sanatan to Hinduism be brought to justice? And who will do it? Will the BJP do it or not? Fundamental questions, viewers. These are the fundamental questions that need to be asked. There are others. Did Congress-led UPA try to rationalize Islamist terrorism by cooking up a whole conspiracy about Hindu terror? Who is part of this diabolical lobby in the Congress that threw Hinduism under the bus of ill repute to score political brownie points with Muslims? These are questions. I want to first begin with Dr. Anand Ranganathan. There's Colonel RSN also here with us, who has been one of those viewers who has been with this story since 2016, since I was a part of another channel. Today is a vindication for all Hindus. Let me put it very bluntly. Dr. Ranganathan, how do you see it? Anything different from the way I'm looking at these things?
Rahul, it wasn't very different until about 5 minutes ago. And suddenly I am very angry. And I am very angry at the wrong sort of person. And this is what this country does to you, you know. It eats you from the inside. In the last 5 minutes, my anger has built up against Colonel Purohit. You know why? I just saw his bite. And second after second, he is extending his thanks. He is saying he is grateful to this, grateful to the state, grateful to the judiciary, grateful to this. He is being grateful. We should be bowing before him. The state should be crawling, writhing, slithering up to him and apologizing to him. And yet, he is the one who's being grateful. This is what this country does to you, you know. It flips you over so that you don't know what is right or what is wrong. You're in that twilight zone. You are Narsimha on the threshold forever. I'm sorry, I'm just overcome by this. How could Colonel Purohit be grateful to anyone? 17 years of his life have gone, vanished because of the state, because of the judiciary, because in many ways of the people who said they loved him. And yet, I don't know where all that patience and fortitude comes from. I don't know.
I'll tell you where it comes from. It comes from serving the Indian army selflessly, serving the nation selflessly. It's ingrained into you. And therefore, even today, Mandela-like, he is not vituperative. He is not taking it out against the state. That's basically what it is. It's the discipline of a uniformed man.
But again, Rahul, you are right in one sense, of course, but I have to ask this. Has justice been done? What are the facts?
No.
The facts are that even after 17 years, we do not know who planted the bomb in Malegaon that killed 6 innocents.
Yes.
We do not know who authorized RDX to be planted in the house of Colonel Purohit, a decorated military officer, so he could be framed. We do not know who okayed tortured and brutal beatings of Sadhvi Pragya. But we do know who coined the phrase saffron terror. We do know who spread this canard. It was the Congress. But what has come of knowing all this? Nothing. And what will come of, even if we come to know of the things that we today don't? Nothing. Left to the Congress, even the 26/11 terror attack would have been labeled as orchestrated by the RSS, but one heroic martyr ruined their plan, Sub-Inspector Omble. And 17 years later, even in that case, we still don't know who the real masterminds of the 26/11 terror attack were.
Yeah.
Rahul, can anything be more embarrassing for a country than the fact that its premier agency, the NIA, is investigating its another premier agency, the ATS? But then, Rahul, this is a nation where 4 decades ago, on November 1, 1984, a mob of 4,000 attacked Gurdwara Rakabganj. 2 Sikhs, father and son, were burnt alive. Mr. Suri, you know him, a journalist, witnessed the mob. He told the commission the mob was led by one man. And then that man became the 18th Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh. This is a nation where the BSP in 2019 selected as a candidate a man who offered 51 crores to anyone who beheaded Charlie Hebdo journalists. Rahul, this is a nation where the Supreme Court refused to open the case of criminality in 1990 against Kashmiri Hindus, saying court too much time had elapsed. This after the same Supreme Court constituted an SIT to look into the cases of criminality in 1984 against the Sikhs that happened 6 years before Kashmiri Hindu genocide. The only thing that can comfort and assuage Sadhvi Pragya Thakur and Colonel Purohit is this realization that in our country, suffering is elastic. There is always someone who has suffered more than you.
Yes.
You only find that man.
And viewers, the only way that justice can be done is if the centre also institutes an inquiry. I want to bring in Hitesh Jain, senior advocate, member of the Law Commission, and someone who actually started out defending one of the accused in this case. First things first, Mr. Jain, your reflections on the verdict before I open this back out to the rest of the panel.
Well, frankly speaking, a convenient political label, that is Hindu terror, has now been legally dismantled. If you are aware of the case, it was not about the case. It was not about the investigation. It was not about the victims. But the UPA government at that time had somehow wanted to frame a political narrative. And it was to fix that political narrative. They fixed the investigation. They found the accused also accordingly. And if you will notice today what has happened, today's judgment, it is not just a legal acquittal, but it is a moral and constitutional correction that has happened today.
Now, sir, I have to ask you this because it's an important question, I would think. The court said that the ATS and the NIA couldn't prove the case. In fact, in this case, bizarrely, they were investigating each other, or one was investigating the other. And that they had no hard evidence from the very beginning. But then we had NIA ex, public prosecutor rather, Rohini Salyan, who said the case was weakened after the NDA took over. She's implying that there was a conspiracy to save these so-called saffron terrorists. How do you respond to this, sir, since you were intrinsically involved in this matter in the beginning?
Well, Rahul, I'm glad you have asked a very important, pertinent question. And also you have tried to also you are asking the question about the charge made by the Rohini Salyan. Now, I will tell you, and since I had the benefit of representing one of the accused in the matter, from day one, our arguments when we were arguing for bail and other matters, We had said there was a problem regarding the manner in which the FIR was filed. There was the problem in the manner in which the statements of witnesses were recorded by the police officers. There was the manner in which the Panchanama was created, the Panchanama was fabricated. The whole case was built on the edifice that Pragya Singh Thakur had purchased the bike, and it was that bike that was used for the blast. And if you will notice in this, and I'm glad if you will read the judgment, it's a voluminous judgment, and I will urge you and the viewers of CNN News 18 to also look at the evidence and the cross-examination, because that is where the clear story is. It will tell you the story about how the FIR was registered. There was complete flaw. The first statement where the investigation gets into the action, there was a flaw in recording of the FIR. There was flaw in recording the witness statements. There was flaw in recording of the Panchanama. And most importantly, they were not able to prove that this was the bike where Pragya Singh Thakur had gone and purchased. So there was no evidence, direct or indirect, even otherwise, to suggest that this bike was there. On the contrary, there is a shocking facts that are coming when you shaft through the evidence. And if you will look at the evidence, there was a second bike that was there. But because they wanted to frame the narrative of Hindu terror, they overlooked all the evidence. And that is the reason, if you will notice, there have been fundamental flaws in the investigation. So all these fundamental flaws in the investigation was there when UPA government was there. The case was investigated. The charge sheet was filed by the NIA. So the flaws are coming from the investigation. The flaws were there in the FIR. The flaws were there in the manner in which the probe was done. So therefore, if you look at Ms. Rohini Salian's allegations, I think they were also, made with certain political overtone. And frankly speaking, the case has fallen down on its own weights due to the contradiction in the investigation evidence and the statements of the witness before the court.
In fact, viewers, the High Court had said as much, even when the UPA was in power. Thank you, Mr. Hitesh Jain. Thank you for joining us here. Let's just go back to the panel, because I want to bring in both the BJP and the Congress representative, and we have Colonel RSN also with us. It's very, very important. Now, I want to begin with Mr. Jain here, who is the Congress representative or sympathizer and sort of doubles up as a political analyst, Nikhil Jain. I want to bring you in, Mr. Jain. You know, you might smile, but I want to ask you a very serious question. Did Congress-led UPA try to rationalize Islamist terrorism by cooking up this entire Hindu terror conspiracy angle? Because when I was looking at this evidence in 2016, and Colonel RSN will join us shortly and illuminate us upon this, it did appear so. And it doesn't just limit itself to this case. It extends to 2-3 other cases also, which I will talk about. So Nikhil Jain, my first question. And does the Congress, on the back of what we've heard from the court today, on the court's verdict, viewers, I'm framing this question. Does the Congress still consider itself a secular alternative after being part of a communal legal lynching of Hindus? Mr. Jain?
Rahul, first of all, in a 30-minute debate, 25 minutes a single narrative was played. I'm glad your viewers would like such a fair debate. Secondly, I applaud and appreciate the human rights that you and Dr. Ranganathan have so eloquently talked about on the show, that the state should bow down before these individuals. The state should give them compensation and such. So every time somebody is acquitted on terror charges by a trial court, the state should do that. I think I will agree with you. I think yes. Let's for a moment. I'll agree with you. Then let's do the same for the Bombay.
Don't do us a favor. We mean it.
All
we
right,
mean
perfect,
it.
Sir, perfect. Let me make my point.
Yeah.
Let's do the same for the Bombay train blast terror accused who've been acquitted.
Sure.
For Professor Sai Baba, who's been acquitted.
Sure.
For Jagtar Singh Johal.
Anyone who has been. But anyhow, one minute.
All right. Everybody in the 2G scam has also been acquitted. Will you now
please don't compare. Don't compare corruption.
Why? It's an acquittal by the court.
Okay, make your point, sir. Make your point. I asked you a question. We are now on the 2G case.
2G case, everybody was acquitted. CWG, every political accused was acquitted. Whole allegation scam, every political accused was acquitted. Now you, Rahul Shivshankar, a very vociferous journalist, please apologize to the nation for painting the Congress government and these Congress leaders as very corrupt individuals. Can you do that? And also, by the way, in the Bombay
the question was simple. Did the Congress
swiftly filed an appeal?
Okay,
the government swiftly filed an appeal.
Okay.
Why is the government not
Mr.
filing
Jain,
an appeal? 11 years
Mr.
under
Jain was
government.
asked a simple question.
Why was no closure
Mr. Jain was
report filed
asked
in
a
the
simple
case?
question.
Why was the case not quashed? Why
Okay,
was the case not quashed by the higher courts? Fact of the matter is, the prosecution deliberately messed up the case so people politically close to the BJP can be let go of. And how can we forget? This Pragya Thakur said this about her 2011 motive. For Hemant Karkare, she said, he died because of my curse. Somebody who died in the line of duty while protecting this country from Islamic extremist terrorists. That person died because of this woman's curse.
But the Congress party didn't say that they died. No, one second. The Congress party didn't say. 1 second, Nikhil Jain. Great that you are being so passionate tonight.
Rahul,
about the cause of Mr. Karkare. But it was your party that suggested that he wasn't killed because of terrorism from across the border, Islamist terrorism. He said he was killed by RSS people and Hindu nationalists. Listen, I'll show it to you. 1 minute. Let me bring in Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, respond. This man, Nikhil Jain, has become a professional. No, 1 second. He's become a professional whatabouter, viewers. I asked him a simple question limited to this particular issue and trial. There is another parallel, and that is the 2006 Malegaon, where, once again, we asked that question. Who killed those hundreds in the train blast if it wasn't those 12 Muslims? They deserve justice too. I have no qualms about it. But the fact, 1 second, Mr. Jain, stop speaking over me. I didn't speak over you. Okay, I have to shut him down. Now, 1 second, viewers, it's very, very simple. The question that was asked in the limited context of this, because these are the first people who asked the BJP, the same question. With regards to 2006 Malegaon blast, we are talking about the 2008, but in the 2006, they said that you misrepresented innocent Muslims and carried out a communal lynching. Similarly, viewers, now, when this particular party, the Congress-led UPA, investigated the 2008 Malegaon, by the way, they also investigated the previous one. So they have, in fact, to answer to both the Muslim and the Hindu community. But that is a different issue altogether. We will ask that same question today that they asked with such alacrity of the BJP. Why do you hate Muslims to have prosecuted them? The same question. Why does the Congress, therefore, by their same tone, hate Hindus to have concocted a conspiracy theory? I'm not saying it, the courts are saying it, viewers. The judge.
Court is saying that. Let's see that in appeal.
The judge is saying it. Yes.
Can the BJP
Sanju Verma, respond, please.
And now, Rahul, I have been listening very patiently. It's been, close to half an hour.
Yeah.
I need my time without being heckled by anybody on the panel. First and foremost, Danke ki chot par, I will say one thing. Thank God Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister. Thank God Amit Shah is the Union Home Minister. Thank God the BJP-led NDA government is in power. So what if it took 18 years? Finally, Sadhvi Pragya, Colonel Purohit, Sudhakar Dwivedi, Sudhakar Chaturvedi, Ajay Rahirkar, Sameer Kulkarni have walked out free. Aaj yadi Congress ki sarkar satta mein hoti, for the next 18-20 years also, Sadhvi Pragya would not have been exonerated of a crime that she never committed. Second point, today everybody is saying, oh, Sadhvi Pragya ke liye taaliyan bajaiye, Colonel Purohit ke liye bajaiye. The BJP, without caring two hoots about brickbats from the opposition, gave Sadhvi Pragya a Lok Sabha ticket in 2019 from Bhopal, and she was a parliamentarian for a good 5 years. So the BJP does not give, empowerment based on narratives that are peddled. Third point, and very importantly, what did the NIA court say? Repeatedly, I realized, Rahul, I did not heckle. I don't know why Nikhil is talking gibberish
Well,
in the
I'll just
middle
have
of
to lower his fader. I mean, if that's what he wants, I'll do it. Yeah.
He does this every time. Nikhil, please keep quiet. I did not heckle you. Sunna seekho. Sirf bolna nahi hai debate par. Use your ears. Don't just use your mouth. Now let me say one more thing. Beat the Makoka court. Beat the NIA court, because I've done a zillion debates on this issue. Beat every court, the Bombay High Court. You notice there are 3 words that come up repeatedly in every judgment pertaining to Colonel Purohit and Sadhvi Pragya and the rest. They say this case was premeditated prefabricated evidence was thrown at the, accused, and a predetermined conclusion had already been reached before even basic forensic investigation had been done. And what did the court say today? It said that beyond reasonable doubt, one has to prove that the accused is guilty. And the prosecution failed to prove that Sadhvi Pragya was guilty beyond reasonable doubt. The prosecution failed to prove that Colonel Purohit was guilty beyond reasonable doubt. But my final point is this. Swami Asimanand, after 11 years of incarceration, walked out free in 2018 in the Samjhauta Express Mecca-Medina blast.
True.
After 18 years, Sadhvi Pragya is exonerated. On the 9th of April 2025, I was on your show. Tahavvur Rana was extradited after 18 years of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attack. You ask questions to the BJP, but please, for God's sake, also learn to give credit. Would Tahavvur Rana have been extradited if Narendra Modi had not been in power? I want to make one more point. The most important man in this entire Pragya Thakur case is a man called Mohan Kulkarni.
Yes.
Mohan Kulkarni is a former Maharashtra ATS officer. And Mohan Kulkarni turned into a hostile witness, giving a clean chit to Shrikant Purohit and giving a clean chit to Sadhvi Pragya, and saying that the so-called RDX was never procured by Shrikant Purohit from Kashmir or assembled by him. And Mohan Kulkarni goes on to say, Rahul, that between the 28th of October 2008, 10 seconds, and the 4th of November 2008,
Yes.
when he was illegally detained, Shrikant Purohit, he had no access to a telephone, he had no access to legal counsel, he had no access to contact his family members, he was tortured. And, so the limited point is, Modi Sarkar hai, to nyay mila
Okay,
hai.
so let me bring in Colonel RSN on this point, and also Mr. Abbas. Colonel RSN, I have one very serious concern. It appears that the Congress party, and I'm only saying it because they have been accused of it, Colonel Saab. You've been part of the armed forces. That the Congress was, this is the accusation against it, was willing to drag even the secular Indian army into the communal mire to prove its case against Hindus. Would you substantially agree with this particular formulation or not? Would you agree or not?
One individual does not represent the army.
Would you agree or not, sir?
I totally agree as far as the armed forces is concerned. There was a court of inquiry conducted by the Military Intelligence Directorate where more than 24 officers, they gave their testimony in favor of Colonel Purohit. He had kept everybody in the loop. Look, in intelligence, you don't get written orders, right? It can never happen. So what they did was they struck at the military intelligence. Then, when 26/11 was taking place, the war room that was supposed to handle the entire operations, do you know, sir, was in Pakistan.
That's true.
They were taken to Murray.
Yes.
And when 26/11 was taking place, they were having beer, sir, in an Islamic country. And there was another person in that delegation, Mr. Rajendra Kumar, who was an IB official. He smelt the rat and he came back. And when he came back, they got after him. They pitted the CBI against him. He was asked to report to the CBI.
Shocked.
So the dispensation then consciously was pitting one intelligence agency against the another. The CBI versus IB, the IB versus the military intelligence. And sir, what was happening in Delhi that time? Shah Mahmood, our war room was there in Pakistan. Shah Mahmood Qureshi was in India. He was addressing the women, press corps here, and somebody murmured something in his ear, and then he was given a special flight to go to Pakistan. This is the first, one of the biggest, what should I say, first case, of course, of political terrorism. Political terrorism in collusion with the jihadis and the ISI in Pakistan. So don't please insult the Indians by asking for an apology. You are asking for an apology from the perpetrators. ये क्या आप लोगों ने मजाक कर रखा है यहाँ पे? Their commission needs to be constituted just like a Jain commission or others, and we need to go to the bottom of this whole affair.
Who will constitute
And
that,
let
sir?
me tell you, sir,
Colonel Saab, who will?
it is not the dispensation.
1 second.
It is not the state or the dispensation that saved this country.
Yes.
It was providence.
Providence. He says
was
providence,
omelette.
and I agree with him. I want to
was
ask you,
Ajmal
Colonel
Kasab
Arisen,
who
this is a
saved
very
this
important
country.
question. Who is going to institute this commission of inquiry? If you want to look at who are these people who were part of this conspiracy, who must
Of course,
institute
the Prime
this?
Minister.
The Prime Minister
Of course,
must.
the Home Minister.
We cannot
And I
leave
totally
this here,
agree with the
viewers.
Home
We
Minister
cannot leave
when-
this incomplete. We cannot leave this hanging, because this requires, this was an attempt, viewers, not just to paint a few people, was to brand an entire religion. Why, viewers? To draw false equivalence. With whom? With people, viewers, who plan this day in and day out, this Islamist export of terror from Pakistan. Can you believe it, viewers? So that we could have Aman ki Asha. This was the game plan. Appeasement, cross-border appeasement was going on. And I want to bring in Mr. Abbas. And I'm not saying this, viewers. All of this has been detailed by the court. And what has the court said? Let me just quickly read out. And it's a very important line. Many people have chosen to overlook this. The judge observed, and I quote, "Conviction cannot be based on moral grounds," unquote, that a political idea cannot substitute for legal proof. Can you believe it? This is the degree to which certain individuals, viewers, had sunk. And I want to bring in Mr. Abbas, because this is very important. Mr. Abbas, look, I've always respected you because you tend to side with the truth. And I have to ask you, would you still pin a secular badge on the Congress after it has been indicted in a manner of speaking, of being part of a communal legal lynching of Hindus? Would you? Because Asaduddin Owaisi doesn't. So I have to ask you, do you side with him or do you side with the establishment view?
Thank you, Rahul. As always, I shall side with the truth. There are no two ways about it. I've been on several Indian national channels and I've always said it. I'm truly surprised and shocked today that none of the panelists have addressed this. The fact that certain people or a political party, I take offense with the word saffron terror or Hindu terror. My best friends are Hindus and it's a beautiful religion. It's a way of living. I think anybody and everybody who said Hindu terror or saffron terror must hang their head in shame, put it down and apologize. I take offense to it and it is absolutely wrong because Judge Lakhoti Sahab has very beautifully articulated in his judgment, terror has no religion, be it Muslim or Hindu. No color for terror, no religion for terror. The other important point I'd like to drive here is the same NIA in the special court, in the final argument, submitted that the Malegaon blast case was operated by the conspirators to terrorize a section of Muslim community, disrupt essential services, create communal tensions, and threaten the state's internal security. My simple question to Sanju Verma ji here is, Sanju Verma ji, these 7 people have been acquitted, okay? What about the 6 victims? So nobody killed them. They died by themselves. 100 people injured. September 29.
No, but that question, no, hang on. 1 second.
I
Mr.
want
Abbas,
to
it's a
know-
legitimate question.
Can I
But
come
that
in?
question should be asked of the Congress. Anyhow, very quickly. Yes, Sanju Verma.
You know, I was beginning to feel happy that finally Mr. Abbas is speaking sense. But I knew there would be a disclaimer.
I've always
सब
spoken
अच्छा
sense,
अच्छा
ma'am.
बोल के Please keep quiet.
problem is you-
Okay, okay, now listen to her. Listen, she's complimenting you, my dear
Mr.
friend.
Abbas,
Let her
please.
finish.
I did not interject you. Please learn to listen. You know, you're not here to simply blabber.
Okay, go ahead. Go
And
ahead with
I'm
your point.
thinking- No, Rahul, please. Yes, let me make my point. My simple point is, I was waiting for him to say, but if disclaimers, the simple point is this. Justice Lakhoti never said terror has no religion. The court
Of course
simply
he
said
said
that
that.
on the basis of,
Of
please
course
keep
he
quiet.
said that.
On the basis.
Please read
Rahul,
that-
can I
Okay, one
please
second.
finish?
Lower Mr.
Can I
Abbas. Let
please
her finish. He can respond.
Thank
Yes.
you. Yes. The basic surmise of the court has been that the religion of accused cannot be grounds to prosecute them without substantive evidence.
Okay.
Nowhere the religion of the accused was even mentioned. But finally, Rahul, 1 minute. You know, 3 days back, Praniti
Ujjwal
Shinde
Nikam
said
joins
that
me.
Operation Sindoor-
Ujjwal Nikam joins me, viewers. I need to go across to the BJP MP, or Rajya Sabha MP rather, who was decorated public prosecutor, made his name prosecuting the 2611 case. He joins us. He needs no introduction, of course, viewers. Thank you, Mr. Ujjwal Nikam. Thank you very much for taking the time out. What are your views on this judgment tonight?
Rahulji, let me tell you very fairly and frankly that because of this trial, I must say that in our country, unnecessarily on account of the religion, some politician parties has condemned this trial. That is the most to be very unpleasant thing which had happened. So far the merit of the case is concerned, though I have not conducted this matter, but I came to know that the judge did not accept single piece of the evidence in this matter. This case rests on the circumstantial evidence, and the court has clearly observed that the prosecution has failed to constitute the chain of the circumstances against the accused. Secondly, the court also observed that though investigating agency had invoked the ULP Act for booking the accused person, the court said that there was no material even to invoke the provision of the ULP Act.
Yeah.
Thirdly, this trial has taken a long time, and the investigating agency had examined such witnesses unnecessarily.
15 years.
And because of that, even the prosecution had examined the number of the witnesses who were turning hostile one by one. What I noticed, the trial was dragged for number of the years for not application of the proper mind by the investigating agency. So, in nutshell, I must say that because of this trial, unnecessary, some politician party has tried to create a rift between the Hindus and others. This is the most shameful thing.
So I have to ask you, because the judge said that the conviction cannot be based on moral grounds. What does he mean by this?
This is, in fact, see, if the case fell like this, then there must be a deep investigation is also needed. Because it's not a question of the army officer. Any common citizen, if he's been falsely implicated in the case, I must say that ruling party or it should be looked by seriously as to why the accused were implicated, number one. Number two, by way of coincidence, I must say that rail blast case is also was investigated by the ATS, and similarly this case has been investigated by the ATS. So it means that there is something mistake had occurred. It may be unintentional or it may be due to some political compulsion. So one can read in between the lines as to when you are using the terminology, the politicians had used the terminology as a saffron terrorism. I think this is the most condemnable, and our country should not be swayed away by this type of allegation.
Well, Mr. Nikam, thank you for speaking very clearly and boldly. The fact is, viewers, and let's move on, because the one fact is that someone needs to get to the bottom of this conspiracy. And the center has to take the lead. We heard Colonel R.S. Singh say, we need to find out who these conspirators were. The Congress, of course, has not apologized. It's not going to. They've asked for an apology from the BJP for tormenting the accused in another blast, another Malegaon blast, but willfully they haven't come out here and put their hands up and said, okay, we made a mistake. Nonetheless, viewers, they've decided to go up in appeal. I need to move on because there is a very, very important story that one needs to focus on for a few moments. And it begins tonight with a question that I'm going to pose. Has the Congress party crossed the red line in its desperation to target Prime Minister Narendra Modi? I'll explain. But first, after hitting India with a 25% tariff plus an unspecified penalty, Trump has passed a snide swipe against India. Guess what he said, this man? He said, and I quote, "I don't care what India does with Russia. They can take their dead economies down together. For all I care, we have done very little business with India. Their tariffs are too high, among the highest in the world," unquote. But in a stunning twist, viewers, you would have thought the entire country would have been outraged and united in telling Trump where to get off. But viewers, in a stunning twist, leader of opposition and Congress son Rahul Gandhi appears to echo Donald Trump's dead economy jibe against India. He says, yes, he's right. Everybody knows this except for the Prime Minister and Finance Minister. Listen to this, viewers.
I mean, everybody knows this, except the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. Everybody knows that the Indian economy is a dead economy. I'm glad that President Trump has stated a fact. पूरी दुनिया जानती है कि इंडियन इकोनॉमी इज अ डेड इकोनॉमी और बीजेपी ने इकोनॉमी को खत्म कर दिया है. क्यों खत्म किया है? अदानी जी की मदद करने के लिए खत्म किया है.
Yes, the truth is that India is far from being a dead economy. Which planet are some of these leaders on? In fact, the Congress itself has been caught by surprise by their scion. Leaders of the Congress are coming out and saying this is not the case. And let me just objectively share 4 hard facts with you. And I always share these hard facts, viewers, so you can sift the fact from the fiction. India's GDP grew 6.5% in fiscal 2024-25. It's the fastest growing major economy. That's not the sign of a dead economy, viewers. In just 10 years, India's nominal GDP has more than doubled, 105%. It's become a $4.2 to $4.3 trillion economy, overtaking Britain recently to become the number 4 and it's well on its way to become the number 3rd. India is ranked the 7th largest exporter of services, contributing 4.6% of global trade. And this Trump, viewers, most of the IT services, the big IT companies in America, use India as their back office. Why are they here in this dead economy? And viewers, India ranks among top 15 global FDI recipients in 2024 with an 18% year-on-year growth. Would anyone be lining up to invest in a dead economy? Viewers, the same Congress that often rails against foreign interference now seemingly embraces it to score political points. When opposition leaders begin echoing foreign critics, one must ask, how far is too far in the pursuit of power? Is the Congress party mocking Bharat just to malign Modi? Has Congress become politically tone deaf or worse, politically reckless? Let's open this up. Let me go straight across to Nikhil Jain. Nikhil Jain, is India a dead economy? Is Manish Tiwari wrong? Is Shashi Tharoor wrong? Is another chap who serves in the BCCI from your party, Mr. Shukla, Rajiv Shukla, wrong? Are they all wrong? I can play out their soundbite saying that they're bemused. Apart from that, Priyanka Chaturvedi and others who are allies of the Congress. Very quickly, is India a dead economy, not growing?
Rahul, your namesake from the Congress party is somebody who likes to self-introspect, who has called himself immature in the past, who has himself criticized his own party, and who is somebody who looks for mistakes so as to rectify them. What we are going through in the Indian economy right now are...
Mr. Nikhil Jain, take a position. I'm not asking you for a dissertation. I don't need it. I've put the facts out. I'm asking you, do you agree with Rahul Gandhi, yes or no?
No, what Rahul Gandhi is pointing out is that there is a problem in the...
No, he's not. He's saying it's a dead economy and I agree with Trump.
Rahul, let's not be so tone deaf. Let's not be
Okay,
so
okay,
dense.
okay,
All of
viewers.
us on
I'm
the
not
panel
saying
are
it. He's
educated
saying it.
people.
I can
Let's
play out
not-
the soundbite. Let's play it out, viewers.
Do we-
Is he
do we
saying
not
no?
get-
Actually,
do we not
Trump has
get
got it
context
wrong.
of
We're a
things?
spluttering economy. No, he's saying we are
Rahul,
dead.
my
We're a
friend-
dead
Rahul,
economy.
my
Why?
friend,
Because the
it's
Prime Minister is
context
only
based.
serving Adani.
Forget
Let's
the
play it out.
economy,
Let's
it's
play out that
context
soundbite.
based. Forget the economy, it's the context.
I mean, everybody knows this, except the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. Everybody knows that the Indian economy is a dead economy.
Everyone knows that the Indian economy is a dead economy. Dr. Ranganathan, what is happening here?
Let me at least make a
Has
point that
Congress...
we talk
No,
about
one
facts and
second,
figures.
please. Just shut
Can
him
we
up,
talk-
please. Mr. Jain, you can't be speaking over other people. I gave you an opportunity to speak and give your point of view. You never come to the answer. You want to hog the show. Just calm down. I asked you a simple question. Do you agree or you don't agree? Tell me that you don't agree. Or you do agree. Yes or no?
Listen.
Okay.
He is talking about self-introspection, which you're not
Okay,
willing to do, which is why
self-introspection.
they
Okay,
lost.
fair enough, sir. He's the only one who
0.7%
self-introspects.
of the
Everyone
GDP
else
right
is
now,
everyone else is
2008
beyond.
2.6%.
No, one second, incapable of that. Okay. Now let me bring in Dr. Ranganathan. Dr. Ranganathan, what do you make of this? When opposition leaders begin echoing foreign critics, one must ask, how far are they going in the pursuit of power? This is the same party. It's the same party that rails against foreign interference. It talked about Trump meddling in our so-called war with Pakistan, saying that it breaches its own, in fact, red lines by interfering in another country. Surrender. Who's surrendering now? Rahul Gandhi completely. Haan mein haan mila ke. Baith gaye.
No, but this is so shameful that it is entirely expected of Rahul Gandhi. And first of all, I think Indians should also introspect. You know, there's a lot of ire against Donald Trump. I think it's misplaced. You may disagree with whatever he wants to do, but he's fighting for his country. He's the president not of India or the Prime Minister of India. He's the president of America. He will do whatever is in America's best interest. Like we want Narendra Modi to do whatever is in our India's best interest, and he's doing it. Full marks to him. We might not agree because we are at the receiving end, as a host of nations are. The problem is he has said something devastatingly misplaced and wrong. The problem is not him. The problem is Rahul Gandhi, who's agreed with it. Now, the thing is, if India indeed was a dead economy, which you can say it was in 1990 at the cusp before economic liberalization, I would have said, yes, Rahul Gandhi is right. But last year, since independent India came into being, last year was India's highest ever GST collection, $270 billion, vehicle sales, 25 million, taxpayers, 104 million, manufacturing PMI, 59.2, exports, $825 billion, jobs created, 46 million, highest ever, forex reserves, highest ever, 704 billion, Sensex, 85,900, highest ever in independent India's history. Are these the telltale signs of a dead economy? This is the problem with Rahul Gandhi. His hatred for Modi has transmogrified into acute, visceral, poisonous hatred for India. इसका कोई उपाय नहीं है. कोई उपाय नहीं है.
Mr. Mishra, let me bring you in. You study the economy. You're an investor in the economy. I have to ask you this. How does India respond from here? Look, we can get bogged down in this puerility that is spewed by one or two politicians in this country, and I don't want to. Trump is a liar. We know this. His own government calls him one. He's actually a felon. Now, he might be right. He might be defending American interests, or he may not be defending American interests. I don't even want to get into that debate. That's also up for debate. Many people in America think that he's actually selling America. In fact, viewers, Ipsos poll has said that he's got only a 39% approval rating. It's plummeting day by day. But Mr. Mishra, how do we respond now, the juncture that we are at, to Trump? Either we can go the Rahul Gandhi way, haan mein haan mila lete hain, and say, yes, we are dead, so let's just go ahead and do what you expect of us to do. Yes.
Thanks. I mean, actually, I'm not particularly surprised by Rahul Gandhi agreeing with Trump, because I think they're both fumbling for some sort of appearance of success. I mean, if you look at what Trump is trying to do, the UK has given him a framework of a deal. China has ignored him. Putin has ignored him. Netanyahu, who he should be controlling or at least influencing, has pretty much ignored him. He's embroiled in a scandal of a socialite financial advisor of some sort. And his peace
No, but we
overtures.
can't ignore him. I mean, if you're talking about a trade deal.
Exactly, but I think there is the fact is that we have to actually use this as an opportunity because we actually have a strong domestic economy. We have great demand. We happen to be, I think, the world's second largest defense importer, third largest oil and
No,
gas
that's
importer.
fine. But I have to ask you, hang on, Mr. Mishra. Look, we cannot deny that we have a $45 billion trade surplus with America today. It's our number one.
That's not a clear picture, Rahul, because the fact is that ignores the royalties, the digital business money that moves out of India. In reality, if you actually start combining everything, it is most likely that the US actually has a surplus with India because some of these payments that are made out of India are actually much bigger than just the merchandise or services trade. But the bigger thing is that we can actually use this. The fact is that we have a market. The fact is that if we enter into a dialogue with Trump, and he's transactional, which means that we give him some things and take the things that can actually help productivity in our economy improve further. That's all he wants. He wants a big line number. And we need to engage with him.
He wants ingress.
Which we are.
He wants ingress into our dairy and agricultural sector. Can we give him that ingress?
We cannot. We absolutely cannot. But we can give him areas where we can actually gain from US technology.
Okay.
We can actually give him some foreign policy minor points, which will give him his headlines in his own country. So Dr. I think that we are strong enough to be able to engage with him.
Okay.
This is with great respect to the experts out here, and Saket ji is one. I speak purely as a layman, but I try and bring scientific logic into whatever my thought process is. And I always say, let's not mix politics with science. Likewise, I don't want jingoism to be mixed with economics. Now, what does economics tell you? That high tariffs are bad. Protectionism is bad. If you want to progress, if you want to, aspire for equality within your citizenry, you have to have competition. You have to have fair-minded trade. So Trump is right. Why are we criticizing Trump for what we also would have done? Would India like 200%?
I'm afraid I completely disagree with you.
No, actually, Dr. Ranganathan, tariffs are bad.
Tariffs are bad if they're equal.
Either side,
and you need
they
to
are
be able
bad.
to compete properly.
I don't think you
The
realize.
big issue is you need to be equal to compete.
Why does
A
India
poor
have
farmer
80%
cannot compete
tariff
with
on
a big
American rice?
dairy company.
Why does India have
and by the way,
20%
Does that make, one second, does that make our agricultural sector productive? No, it doesn't. Tariffs are bad, viewers.
They are bad
on all sides.
What
Trump is doing is pursuing a unilateral, beyond extra rules-based order, tariff terrorism. He cannot be rewarded for this. This is the problem. You cannot work outside the framework of the rules. You can't say to another country, I'm sorry, you cannot do business with a third country. Who is he to tell us this? And we cannot go along with that. Yes, he has a point. The world would be a better place if tariffs in general were minimal across borders. I take your point there, Dr. Ranganathan. But let's not make a virtue out of this. Yes, there is an opportunity for us. We should heed that advice. We should diversify, conclude more deals with other countries, like we have done with the UK, FTAs with the EU, etc., etc. I get your point, but let's be very realistic. This is not about Trump's tariffs versus Indian. Tariffs are bad. India needs to move quickly, diversify. Like it's diversified its supply chain, it needs to go and diversify its trade chain. I'll leave it at this, views.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Saying, should Congress ruling at the time and leading the charge of saffron terror as if it was established not take political accountability and responsibility for the fact that none of these cases have been proved?
Jai Hind, Shivani, at the very outset, I must say justice delayed is justice denied, as we all know. And since you have used the term saffron terror, the famous person who coined that term, actually, who was the Union Home Secretary at the point till 2013, later on joined the BJP and became a BJP MP and was a minister, a cabinet minister in the BJP government from 2019 to 2024. So let me just tell you that that is exactly the root cause of where we are standing today. This judgment, which is full of conjectures, rather I would say it is an oxymoron of a verdict. Why, I'll tell you. Because the judge has categorically written, and she writes that he or she, I'm not very clear, strong suspicion against accused but not enough to punish them. Hence, benefit of doubt. So both in a single breath, if you can say strong suspicion against the accused, but benefit of doubt is to be given. And now let me take you.
But that's how verdicts are given. They have said that there is not enough conclusive
Shivani, allow me my
proof.
fair opportunity. You have asked me a question. Please have the patience to hear me out. I have some very intriguing points that I'm about to bring up. You know, the public prosecutor in this matter, Shivani, who was taking up this matter, Rohini Salyan, actually submitted on record in 2015 that she was asked by the NIA to slow down and go soft on the accused. You have yourself in your report told us, and later on, by the way, Rohini Salyan was pushed out of this entire prosecution in 2017. In spite of the fact that she represented one of the victims who came up to the Supreme Court because the justice was getting delayed arbitrarily, and she came and they were able to represent successfully. They were able to bring on record a lot of crucial evidence. And then 2007, she was pushed out of the thing. And you have yourself brought it on record that only 93, the court says 93 or 94 were actually injured, when on record it is 101. Let me also remind you, Shivani, that actually, 32 victims have gone hostile. 32 witnesses have gone hostile.
Yes.
39 witnesses have turned hostile, out of which 6 had actually submitted their statements before that. 30 witnesses have died, Shivani. So you see, what kind of a prosecution are we looking at? That is the central question of this debate.
Yeah, but the
today.
investigation has also been called out. You are talking about the prosecution that started, as most cases in India, much later. Almost takes 10 years before trial begins. But you're not talking about the investigation. The investigation happened when the UPA was in power, right? Why was the investigation botched up?
So Shivani, first of all, thank you so much. You basically underlined the point that this sort of judgments are actually an outcome of the lethargic judicial system that we have, where the judicial appointments are held back, where the judicial entrance examinations are not successfully conducted, and for the last 11 years...
But that's not unique to this case. What's unique to this case? Mahima Singh, I asked you a question on saffron terror. I've given you enough time to talk about the details of this case. But you're saying that one of the people who was in your dispensation at the time, now with the BJP, coined the term. It's not like the Congress didn't run with it. It's not like your ministers didn't talk about it all the time. It's not like P. Chidambaram didn't justify the coinage of the term saffron terror as the Home Minister to say that no, we need to drive home the point that these are right-wing fundamentalist organizations.
Shivani, before you go on to build that narrative, let me just...
It's not a narrative, it's facts.
Yeah, it is. It is very much a narrative.
No, it's not a narrative, it's facts. I have quoted facts that Chidambaram has talked about saffron terror being a justified term.
Now, since as far as I know, Shivani, you see the art of questioning, you are a very seasoned journalist. So I believe after a question and answer, an uninterrupted one must follow.
No, whereas... Don't call my questions narrative. I'm sorry, I take objection to that. I have not built any narrative. If there was ever a narrative that was built, it is on saffron terror. It is on its last legs if it is still surviving. My question is, shouldn't the political dispensation of the time take responsibility for their fact that they tried to malign a peaceful community and peaceful religion?
Not at all. Not at all, Shivani. That is the narrative that you're building, and we can see.
It's not a narrative.
Now, it is very much a narrative, and saffron terror was coined by our RPC.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post, and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. Donald Trump has dropped his tariff bomb. Starting tomorrow, he will slap 25% tariffs on India. At the same time, he's warming up to Pakistan. Trump has struck a deal to develop Islamabad's oil reserves. What exactly is the US president playing at, and how is India reacting? Today, the Commerce Minister spoke in Parliament.